Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus-Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in my home state of Mississippi, as well as our online audience tuning in thanks to iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, one of the things we've definitely seen that 2020 has exposed are the health disparities that are out there. And this is especially true as we've been looking through the pandemic, especially when it comes to those who are not getting their regular health care visits, and especially those who may be dealing with things like high blood pressure and other heart health issues. This is definitely important for the Black community that has been impacted so much by chronic heart disease. We're excited to welcome Dr. Jennifer-Caudle to our program today. She's a board-certified family medicine physician. She's going to talk to us not only about some things you need to know about over-the-counter pain medications, but also why you need to be taking care of your heart health as well. Dr. Caudle, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, the pleasure's definitely all mine. This can be a little disheartening to read some of these numbers that are coming in, especially about when it comes to the chronic disease and the Black population. Why is there such a prevalence, Dr. Caudle, of high blood pressure, especially among the Black community?
That's an excellent question, and you're right. Healthcare disparities do exist. We do know, for example, that African Americans have a higher prevalence of high blood pressure. There are a number of reasons for that, but some of them that come to mind are genetic factors, say a higher sensitivity to salt, but also sometimes African Americans respond differently to antihypertensives than other groups. Either way, we know it's really important to treat blood pressure because uncontrolled blood pressure can lead to things like heart attacks and strokes. That's why a really proactive and comprehensive heart health plan is very important.
As I mentioned, Dr. Caudle, this has been difficult, I know, for my mom. I did take her in for one of her appointments this year, but she's been doing a lot of telehealth this year. So a lot of people are not going in for their regular visits. But why is it so important for them to make sure that they are addressing, especially if they do have issues with high blood pressure and heart health? Why is it so important for them not to neglect that?
Yeah, it is very, very important. And I'm actually really excited that you mentioned not only your mother and how you're helping her with her health and you're involved, but also that you mentioned telehealth, because that is an option for a lot of our patients. And it sort of speaks to this idea that even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, as a family doctor, I want to make sure that my patients and all patients are still getting the medical care that they need. So whether that's, even if it can't be an in-person visit, telehealth is a modality that I'm using that so many doctors across the country are using. But to your point, heart health is so important, and making sure that our blood pressure is controlled and that we're taking care of our heart through our blood pressure is very important. Again, the risk for heart attacks, strokes, and so many other things can be a factor if our blood pressure is not controlled. So this is very important.
Dr. Caudle, I want to ask you about some of the over-the-counter medications, but before we do that, one of the things I definitely want to bring up for our audience, because a lot of times when we think about these issues of health, we normally think about certain ages. Well, I think one thing that COVID has shown us this year is that it's not about age. This is definitely true when it comes to heart disease. Has that been an important message for you to be able to share that, that people, even in the study that I was reading about when prepping for your segment, between 18 and 49 being twice as likely to die from heart disease than white Americans, is that something that you're able to share with your audience and see that they're not familiar with?
Yeah, and you bring up a lot of points, a lot of really excellent points. You're right that even blood pressure, something like that, actually can afflict many different ages, so we have to keep that in mind. But in terms of racial health disparities, we know that African Americans are more likely to die from heart disease than Caucasians. African Americans are also, those who are 35 to 64 years old, for example, are 50% more likely to have high blood pressure than Caucasians. There are a number of ways that healthcare disparities play out. When it comes to African Americans, these are a few things, and this is why, as we talk about over-the-counter medications, the importance of being proactive with our heart health is important. That means stocking the refrigerator with healthy fruits and vegetables, eating healthy. Eating at home is very healthy, often healthier than, say, eating out, but also making sure that we're exercising, we're getting outside, stretching our legs, and being active. These things are important really for everyone.
Right. Such a great point. And so because a lot of people are taking care of their heart health at home as well as other things, talk to us, if you don't mind, about what they should know when it comes to taking those over-the-counter medications.
Right. A lot of people actually don't realize that over-the-counter pain medications in particular can either increase your blood pressure or interact with blood pressure medications that you're taking. This is something that a lot of people don't actually realize. So I recommend taking stock of your medicine cabinet and seeing what's in there, thinking about what it is that you reach for when it comes to, say, pain or other over-the-counter medications that you're taking. Tylenol, for example, is the number one doctor-recommended pain medication for people with high blood pressure. And the reason for that, a few of the reasons, is that Tylenol doesn't increase the blood pressure or interact with medications for blood pressure the way other over-the-counter pain medications might. So it's another reason to, in addition to exercising, eating healthy, and sort of this comprehensive plan, seeing your doctor, which we've talked about, it's also very important that people talk to their doctor about the over-the-counter medications they're taking and keeping all of this stuff in mind.
And I think, too, for our audience out there, knowing what you're putting inside your body is so important. And I love the point you mentioned there, Dr. Caudle, about making sure that it's not something that's going to do more harm than good. So knowing how it may interact with the medicine that you're already taking. A lot of great points to be able to share. And I have to say, before we let you go, Dr. Caudle, I was sharing with you before we went on here, I was on your Facebook fan page when I was prepping for this. I love the fact that you're able to share such up-to-date information, not only about, of course, what we're talking about today, but also COVID, why it's so important for us to know about the vaccines. I really appreciate that. How can our audience be able to get more information about what we discussed here, as well as stay connected with you?
Absolutely. Well, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Education is the name of the game, and actually that's one of the reasons why I'm excited to partner with Tylenol, who's working with local affiliates of the National Urban League to really provide education and resources, all sorts of things to communities with disproportionately high levels of high blood pressure. So it's very exciting to me. One of the best things you can do is to go to Tylenol.com, but as I always say, it's also important to talk to your doctor.
So true. Again, everyone, Dr. Jennifer-Caudle has been our guest. Dr. Caudle, you're welcome here anytime. Looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much.
Hey, glad to have you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.